Hello and welcome back to NATO Plays Minecraft. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I've been working on the bridge and the arch quite a lot, and I think I'm going to start something new but relatively small. So you might have noticed in my previous videos that the farm back here has disappeared. I decided that it was a bit messy and annoying, so I got rid of it. I still have got the cows, who are very loud and kind of annoying, and I'm running out of wheat to breed them. I actually don't need cows that much right now, but if I want to make lots of books later on, I'll need some, and they're also very useful for food. I mean, at the moment I only have a stack and a bit of wheat. I've also got 2 carrots. I've not found any potatoes yet. I think I found... No, I've not found any pumpkin or melon seeds yet. But today I think I'm going to start building a farm. And this farm's going to be automated to a certain degree. It's going to use pistons and flowing water to uproot and harvest. Bloody Enderman. To harvest crops when they are finished growing. So I have been messing around in the creative world, and I've come up with a few little designs based around this sort of flowing water design. So we'll go have a look at that. And here we are over in the creative world. So the first thing I have here is a small farm with wheat, but it could be carrots or potatoes, it doesn't really matter. And I just want to show that when you pour water over crops, the water knocks out the crops but leaves the tilled earth there, so you can go and pick up all your harvested wheat and the seeds and immediately plant back again. This slab here is just there to cover up the water block, otherwise the water, when it's flowing down from here, if I take that out, doesn't properly spread, it just goes straight into there, which is just one of the little pains and annoyances of water in Minecraft. So here I have a slight development of that idea using pistons. So this is the first design. I'm vaguely calling these the farming ziggurats because they tier up from lower levels up to the top. More so as it goes on to that design, which I'll get to in a minute. This was the first version. It has 4 tiers of 2-tiered farming plots. It also has hoppers at the end to collect the resources, collect the harvested goods, and it also, I need to come under here unfortunately. It also has pistons which control the flow of water. Now this isn't wired up, so you just have to come down here and do that manually. With all the bats. So, as you can see, this first design has a bit of a problem. Now I played around with this design quite a lot, and it was working. Go away, rain. It was working, and then I made some changes. I added the detailing and messed around a bit with where the source block was for the cascading water. There's only one source block. There was only one source block. There's now 4 to try and get it to work. But unfortunately, it's not splitting here and covering these 10. There's 10 there. There's 4. And there's 8, 9, 12. Sorry. Those plots there, and it's also not covering that one plot there. So I ended up deciding that this was just getting too complicated and wasn't going to work. So before I do anything else, the sound of the water is going to annoy me unless I turn it off. It was also the fact that the pistons that control I always forget the way out. The pistons that control that water are actually quite far away from any sort of control area, so it will make it difficult to turn it on and off to wire it up to a sensible location. So I moved on to the second design, in which I have this system here which makes a channel of water over the top of the plots, and again pistons that release the water and cascade down. Now this system obviously works a lot better in the way that it actually covers all the plots, and I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, there are online, you can go look at people's video tutorials based on building the most efficient farms, but I basically thought that, well, this is a building series, so let's build something ourselves. And this is what I came up with. I've then gone over here to, this is more of an incomplete staging model of what I want to build once it's all rigged up. I'll just show you the mechanics, if I can, of this one. So it's very simple. There's a switch on that side which toggles whether or not this torch is lit up, and then there's a line of redstone down the middle and some redstone repeaters which power these blocks, which then in turn power these pistons, so that when the switch is off, the pistons are up and it pushes these slabs up to stop the water running out. When the switch is on, it unpowers that torch, which unpowers everything else. Pistons come down and those slabs are retracted. So it's quite a simple system. All of this can be controlled from one switch, which makes it relatively easy to wire up. So which means that when we come to do this model, we will have the slabs here will be the ones with pistons in. There will be a little bit more wiring, but that's not going to be a problem. And this is kind of where the name of the sort of farming ziggurat comes from, because it's very tiered structure. I might play around with the design of this somewhat, just to make it a little less ziggurat-y, I guess, maybe? I don't know. I quite like it. Or even more, so kind of round off the edges a bit. This block here it's vaguely important. I mean, I could block it off like that, but the problem with doing that is that when you then release these, it doesn't necessarily flow properly. Oops, I messed that up. Yeah, when you release the water, it doesn't flow quite as expected, whereas if you have that... Oh, maybe not. It worked before. Oops. It behaved differently before. Or maybe it was because it was like that. Basically, it made this... Huh. Well, it doesn't matter, because we're going to be going up to this point anyway. That's where the drop down to the next level will be. Or there, really. Anyway, so this is the design I'm going to go for. And I will probably tweak a few bits here and there. Like that point there. The general design will probably shift a little bit, just to be a bit more in keeping with what I have so far. I haven't got any blocks on me, have I? I think this probably looks better. It's more of a ziggurat shape anyway, so I might just embrace the ziggurated nature of it. One of the problems I have with this design currently is that there is no obvious and clear location to put the switch, the kind of control switch. There's also generally no kind of not central control point, but there's nowhere obvious, as I say, to put the switch. I could set it up so that everything is controlled off one point. So you switch one switch and all four sides get activated at once. Or I could set it up so that it is independent, sides are independent from each other, and that would basically mean that if I have some crops that aren't ready to be harvested, like if my potatoes are taking extra long for some reason, I can still harvest the wheat without risking or upsetting growing of the other materials. My current thoughts, as I'm messing around here, is that getting over to the center of the ziggurat is going to be a little difficult. Going to be a little tricky and irritating because of the water there. That's if I actually want to be able to get over to the center. You could do something like that, but that's really obnoxious and horrible. But anyway, I will mess around with that later. Put it back to how it was so that I have a reference. The important thing about this model, this version, is that the water comes down from quite high up and is then split. Grrr, stop it. Sorry, it has to be symmetrical, otherwise it will annoy me. So there we go. The important thing about this is it comes from one water source, comes down several levels, and then splits at the bottom here. Now this split means that there is water that comes down as far as the end here, so that when you release it, it flows all the way down. Now, one thing I could do is if you increase the flow down, you get slightly further, and that might actually end up being what I do. But that looks really horrible. So I'm going to get rid of that. And reset my water in the center. One of the options I have with this system is I could, instead of having a set of pistons, this would be a more resource, or less resource intensive version. Instead of having, how many pistons would it be? Many, many pistons. 8 aside, so 8, 16, 32 pistons. I could, in theory, just get away with 4 if I put them up in the ziggurat. Which means that this area will be dry until you push the button or pull the lever to make the water flow. Now, while that is a possibility, one of the things that I'd like to do is essentially when you have your... Come on, stupid thing. When you have your farming plots, you're going to need irrigation. So if the farming plots are down here, they'll need to be irrigated from somewhere. And if I pull the irrigation off the central chamber, then it kind of requires less water blocks. And when you have redstone around, you want to know exactly where your water is. So if I just have a system where the water comes down, straight down off, I don't have to mess around with any of the kind of central water supply. All I need to do is turn on and off, or release there. Ooh, no, that's not good. What if it opens up that side? Ah, right, so what's happening here is we're getting interference between that water channel there and where it can flow. So if I block this off, like it was before. Block those off. Let the water drain away. And then get rid of those. Oh, will you stop doing this? This is the problem with water in Minecraft, and it does not do anything like what you want or expect it to do. Ever. There we go. That's what I wanted. So yeah, having an open water channel down through here upsets the flow of water as we wanted it before. So that's going to be unfortunately not possible. We'll have to just have a water source block underneath here somewhere. So for example like there, so that it can flow down the centre and irrigate all of our channels. Okay, well, we'll head back to the main world and we'll go have a look for a plot to set up our farming ziggurat and start construction. So I will see you back over there. And here we are back in the main world with our cows. I've noticed occasionally I'll log back in and there'll be some leather and some beef on the floor. I'll kind of have absolutely no idea how that's happened. But when I logged in there, I noticed that one of the cows was flashing red. So I think they're spawning back in when I load the world, inside blocks, inside the blocks in the wall, and suffocating. Because they tend to hug the walls for some reason. There we go. So we need to find somewhere to put this farm. And I like the idea of making this kind of the central focal point of a small village. It's just kind of on this side of the water from the huge town. And I like the idea of making a small dock area here and making more of this mine. So kind of having a more impressive mine front and maybe have a mine shaft, not a ladder, what are they called? Like a tower with a crane on type thing for the docks, for where that mine is, and having our farm somewhere nearby, so that we have like a nice little village of just a couple of places, a couple of buildings. Having a look over here, the terrain here is very disturbed. There's lots of y-axis variation, which makes building a large flat farm difficult. It would require lots of flattening, which I don't really want to do. And I don't really want to go too far anyway, because I don't want to have to go very far to get my wheat and other farming stuff, and I don't want to have to flatten a big wide area. So that way, that direction, which I think is west. So to the west of the house is a bit I'm not very impressed with. Behind the house, where we had the farm before, it's a bit small. And there's this hill here which I'd have to flatten. There's also all these trees, but we're going to have to remove trees wherever we build this. There is, however, this area down here where it slopes gently down to the water, where I could get away with something here. I wouldn't think you'd traditionally build a farm near the sea, because you'd start getting all the salt air and very salty soil, which probably wouldn't be great for growing crops in. So really, we have the south is the best option. There is these woods here, which we could again take the trees out and flatten down, and there would be quite a bit of work to do just for a farm. But if I do want a farm, and a cave. Oh, well, that was a disappointment of a cave. I do want a farm, and I don't, to a certain degree, mind clearing a lot of space for it. So I think the farm will probably be to the northwest. So basically alongside these cows. And I might move the cows a little further away to get rid of their incessant mooing. But other than that, we shall have to see. Let's go to bed first. So I also have 30 levels to enchant another piece of diamond armor, which I'll go and do now. I have to take it off first. So we have our diamond boots of protection, projectile protection and unbreaking, which were a bit of a letdown, to be honest. I mean, I could make another set of diamond boots and enchant them, but I wouldn't necessarily get the right thing. We have diamond leggings, our chest plate and our helmet. Let's do the chest plate because it's the biggest piece. And it probably won't give us something that interesting. It's probably protection, possibly a particular kind of protection, but we'll take a look. Let's see. Okay, protection 4. That'll do. I don't know what I expected. There is kind of a limit to protection. It kind of looks like I've got not suspenders, what's the word? Braces on with this skin. With the edges of the robe. Anyway, woo. There we go. There is a limit to protection. I'm not sure what that limit is. But there's only a certain number of points of protection you can get a benefit from, get a bonus from. And as I said before, once I have a... What is this pick? It's an unbreaking pick. Pickaxe. Once I have a ender, or some form of XP farm, I will probably start enchanting books and then using an anvil to put the enchants on the books, on the items, because it's more efficient, you know exactly what you're getting, and yeah. So I am going to, off camera, clear this forest a fair bit and see if we can get a nice flat area to build in. So this actually probably will be the end of an episode. I thought that was a creeper then. So I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.